Hello and welcome to Goa 365's Face to Face. Goa has been in the middle of a lot of controversies. We've had the Konkan Railway issue, we've had mega projects, but now probably Goa and its people have been faced by one of the biggest challenges that we have seen, the degradation of the environment. Today our economy works on tourism and people come to Goa because of the unique culture, because of the environment and because of what Goa is. They don't come to Goa for big roads, they don't come to Goa for huge buildings, they come for what Goa is. Now with us is who I would call a celebrity. He may not be a celebrity in the normal like a film star or something, but he is somebody who has worked tirelessly, being abused and lots of other things across the years that I have known him, right from the time that he has been fighting against mining and all types of environmental degradation. With me is Dr. Claude Alvarez of Goa Foundation. Doctor, welcome to our show. Now, I have known Claude for many years, and today he has taken up, besides the mining issues which everybody talks about, he has taken up the environmental degradation in our wildlife sanctuaries, namely Tamnar. He's also taken up this CZMP issue. So first I would like you to speak about Tamnar. What is the status exactly on this, about this thing, and what does it portend for Goa and its environment?
The Tamnar project is basically to bring a 400 kV line, high tension line into Goa from Dharwad in Karnataka to Shelde in Goa as an additional line for building reliability of Goa's supply of power to Goa. Now, whether you want this project or not, that's a different issue, because the decision has been made by the Central Electricity Authority, which decides these matters. They allocate the power between the 5 grids. We are attached to the western grid and there's also a southern grid close by. And they allocate the power and so on. So we are not really into whether we require that 400 kV line or not. A decision has been made. Our only issue is, how are you bringing the line to Goa? Now, there were already serious apprehensions expressed by the authorities themselves. That is, there is a power system planning committee for the western region which takes these decisions about from which source would you take this power to Goa. And they had 8 options in front of them. Out of the 8 options were 2 from Kaiga side, 4 from Kolhapur where we already have a 400 kV line, and 2 they were not sure, but I assume that it was directly across the Western Ghats. It's not really given in very clear terms if you look at the minutes. So when we looked at all these papers, we found that the line was being taken through the Bhagwan Mahavir Wildlife Sanctuary, but not in the existing place where there is already a line, but in a new place in the northern part of the sanctuary. So our natural question was, if there is already an existing line, why are you going to a new area?
Yes,
Because
why?
yeah, because you have got a 110 kV line going through Mole, a 220 kV line also going through Mole. Now out of those 2, the 110 kV line is defunct for 20 years. Out of the 220 line, you can say 50% is being exploited. Means one circuit is down, only one circuit is being used. So anybody would say, if you've got existing towers already, existing circuit lines, etc., why don't you use that, and why go to a new place and open up a new one? Because what will happen in, as it happens in India, you will have a third line and they will say, no, when we put the third line of 400 kV, we'll remove 110 and 220. But that never happens. Because the 110 kV line is dead for 20 years, but you have not removed it.
Correct.
If you had removed it, it would have been good for the wildlife, but you have not removed it. The 220 line is very inefficient because every time the trees come in a monsoon and it trips. Every 2 to 3 days it trips. So what we suggested was, who gave you the idea that you could go through a new alignment? And that's when we found that the alignment had been suggested or proposed by the contractor.
Why?
Why we cannot understand, because the contractor, when he is given a line, he is told to take the line from, say, Narendra to Dharwad to Shelde. Well, he has to go strictly by what is there in the minutes. But we find suddenly that Sangod is being disturbed. Sangod village, we found that you have suddenly got permission to remove 2,800 trees. So we said, how did you get this permission? Because there are Supreme Court orders that you cannot be given such permissions, there is Forest Conservation Act and so on. But somehow or the other, they managed to get the permissions, which we then went and challenged in the High Court. And now the whole thing is stopped because the High Court has admitted a petition on that. So taking it to Sangod first was a questionable deal, because we said that your proposal is to bring it to Shelde.
Correct.
From Shelde to take it to Mapsa.
Okay.
Now what you have done is, instead of going to Shelde, you are taking it through another alignment through the northern port of the wildlife sanctuary, coming to Sangod, and from Sangod taking a line directly to Mapsa.
Why?
There is nothing in the file.
Okay.
There is nothing in the minutes. The minutes all say that you will put it at Sheldam because the Goa Electricity Department says in the minutes that we have got land there for an additional substation, which we are giving to you.
Okay.
I don't know whatever the cost is. So the land was available at Sheldam. It is mentioned in the minutes. There is no proposal to take it to Sangod whatsoever. So you do this, you've created a first mistake of taking it out of the for approved alignment. You take it to a new alignment. That new alignment is going to damage hundreds of trees. And as we have said, it's not a question of 14,000 trees which
Yeah,
Tamnar.
I wanted to, let me just, I wanted to bring up now, according to Tamnar, he just had he just interacted with the media the other day, wherein he said that no, it's some like 1,000 and maximum 14,000. What is that now? Is that there, or what exactly is, could you shed some light on that issue?
See, you can play around with this.
Okay.
But basically what is there on the file? On the file is that you are putting a project, one single project,
Okay.
from Narendra in Dharwad, that is in Dharwad, Karnataka, to Sheldam. One project has been approved.
Yes.
It has been given to one contractor and he has been told to complete it by November 2021. Now of course the date is shifted to 22 April or whatever it is. But it's one contract approval which has been given with a substation at Sheldam.
Yes.
Now you take the line through another route. Now what happens? Automatically the demand for felling of trees goes up.
Yes.
So
obviously, yes.
from Karnataka, that is from Dharwad to the border, Goa border, you are going to cut more than 60,000 trees.
60,000 trees.
That is in Karnataka alone.
Okay. Okay.
From Karnataka to Mapsa, you are going to cut another 65,000 trees.
So that makes it like 1,21,000.
1,31,000.
31,000.
Now you can see if there is a project proponent who comes and tells you he is only cutting about 14,000 trees, but on paper, the applications he has made himself
Okay.
are for 1,31,000 trees. Then what do you say about such a project proponent?
But which you have evidence of all these applications you have with you?
Yes,
What's
yes,
common
these
on
are applications made by him before the Forest Conservation Act.
Okay.
And I can take you just one example. He says 14,000. There is one application for him which has been approved by Pramod Sawant.
the Chief Minister of Goa?
Yes, for felling 22,140 trees in private lands, that is people, trees belonging to individuals.
Yes.
That has been approved by the Chief Minister himself. And the only thing is that the actual clearance has not been issued for cutting, but there's an application and there's a permission of the government to exclude these 22,140 trees from the purview of the Goa Protection of Trees Act.
I see.
You remove them. So
Exception.
so they don't have to go and get a
permission.
permission. The same thing they did with Sangod. In Sangod also they did the same route. They did a route going through the government and got a permission which absolved them from getting any permission under Forest Conservation Act or under Goa Prevention of Trees Act.
So wait, and I just want to make it a little slight differentiation. Now we have spoken to the Power Minister, we have spoken to the Chief Minister, we have spoken to lots of people on this. Now everybody talks about we need power. That's why we are doing this. Now this argument of yours is completely different. No, why is it that nobody is trying to redress this? Chief Minister, only one thing, according to me, what I have heard, what I've seen, what I've spoken to the authorities, government ministers, and they're saying that no, we will grow trees in Karnataka. That's what he says. But addressing the actual issue of cutting of trees, environment, this has not been addressed by anybody. Now everybody is saying we need power. That who can deny? Nobody denies. But then there is to be some logic to this whole development proposal or this whole proposal. Don't you think?
Well, you will be surprised to know, we asked under RTI,
Okay.
where is the government approval for this alignment through Goa?
Okay.
They gave us 2 files.
Okay.
In these files, there are only copies of people making complaints. Why are you putting the line in my property? Why? There is a big letter by Daulat Chogle that you are taking the line through my property, you shift it. There is some, from the Goa Housing Board, there's another big application saying that we will be losing some 200 lakhs because you are dividing our property and it will lose the value, and why don't you take it to the corner? That's all that is there in the 2 files. So we said, where is the government approval? Well, I have looked at hundreds of files of government approvals of projects and said there must be a file, there must be file notings, there must be an approval by the Minister for Power, yes, that we have accepted this line. There is nothing of the sort. The Goa Electricity Department gives us 2 files and says these are all the files we have. So we said, what about the other files? They said there are no other files. All the files are with the Central Electricity Authority. And so they sent our letters to someone, 13, 14 different people saying that please give them information because we don't. Now can you believe that they are bringing a 400 kV high tension line to Goa? The power minister doesn't have any approval of this alignment. There are no files at all with the government. We made an appeal under RTI. Under RTI also the officer told them give them whatever files. When we went back for the second time, there were only the same 2 files. Now, every time they say, we are not asking any questions because this is a central government gift to Goa. So why should we do anything?
What gift meant the line?
What they are saying is that they are involved in the business of transmission of power to Goa. We are only involved in the business of distribution of the power. So we have got nothing to do with this whole segment of the transmission line.
But this is not what the power minister and what the chief minister are telling everybody. This is not what they are saying. They are saying is no, there are no trees being cut, nothing, we need electricity. The Prime Minister has gone on record as if there is no electricity, then you cannot use ACs. People for ACs are being made to feel guilty. I don't know. You see the dichotomy
No,
there, it's
this is-
major. If you see, this is what they have been telling us.
See, that is what they like to say, but if you look at Mr. Nilesh Kabral's written note, which is there as soon as he became minister, he has written a note which is on the Goa Environment, this Goa Electricity Department website even now. In that report, he says that I have looked at the whole power situation in Goa. Goa is not facing any power shortage at all.
This is what he was
He is
saying earlier.
and anyway, this is always what he has said, and this is the truth because he says our problem is our distribution.
Yes.
He says we have got a substation, for example, and he gives the name of the substation. I cannot recall which one it is. It is given in the note. He says that they can distribute only 50% of the power that we distribute to, but it is receiving, which means that if you send some more power to it also, they cannot distribute it because the technology is stuck.
Or it's old, or there's a lot of
Old.
corruption, or whatever, everything, whatever.
So that's the reason. We have a distribution, power distribution issue.
Yes.
Not a transmission issue. The 400 kV line that is bringing power from Kolhapur, which is run by Power Grid Corporation of India, which manages 50% of the transmission in India, their line has never failed.
Okay.
But they are saying if it fails,
Then-
we need another 400 kV line. So
Oh.
so we said that with this 400 kV line, how much can you get? They said, see, each circuit will give us 600 megawatts. So if there are 2 circuits of 400, which is there on the present line, we can go to 1,200 megawatts. If we bring one more line, we will get 2,400 megawatts. So what is the peak power load of Goa today? According to them, 690. What? No, not 690, 650. And what is the amount of power we are getting today? 690.
So, but why is there so much of cuts? Because of the distribution issues.
The cuts are only because of this problem of constant trees falling down, you know.
Distribution.
It is basically distribution. Your transformer is conked out, something else is conked out. And one electrical engineer told me that I have made 19 proposals. All of them were rejected.
Okay, now we have, I want to move on to CZMP. So, just one last thing. Again, I'm bringing you back to the earlier thing. Now, the issue is of cutting of trees, the environmental degradation and everything. But the government is only talking about, Hurry, if you don't know this project, you won't get power. If you don't, now there has to be some logic behind what people talk. Some logic has to be there, especially of people in governance, in power. Why you think is that this sort of, I don't know, haze, or whether they are not aware of it, or whether they are trying to hide, or what exactly? What is the issue according to you? You have been a lot of experience.
No, the
in
issue
it.
is very clear. This project was not asked for by the Goa government. It has come from the central
Center.
government.
Okay.
Just like the doubling of the railway track
Correct.
come from the central government. National highway expansion come from the National Highway Authority of India. They are not Goa projects. They have not gone from Goa saying that we need this project. They are projects which are being dumped on Goa for whatever reason, national integration, this, that, falana, whatever it is. So there is no file created even for these people to understand why we need those proposals.
So they themselves are not aware.
They are not aware. So what they are doing is simply doing what the central government has told them, you do these projects, otherwise you get out. That's all.
That's very interesting.
You do these projects, or we get another chief minister, or we get some other minister, but we want these 3 projects by hook or by crook to be done by so and so time, whatever the opposition, and you go ahead and you use whatever means you want. Now I will give you a very clear example in the railway project. The railway project never mentioned security.
RPF.
But the latest affidavit which they filed now in the Central Empire Committee says, primary, the railway project doubling is required for the naval base.
Yeah, I've heard this.
Naval
we were
base
very
in
shocked.
Goa, which has never, this is the project which is approved in 2010 during Mamta Banerjee's time when she was railway minister. At that time nothing is mentioned, but today in order to defend the project before judges and so on, they say, no, it's related to the country's defense. Because once you say it's country's defense, then everything is, everything, all the opposition backs off.
Okay. Dr. Now I would like to move on to CZMP. The other day we were, I think media covered it. We were live for almost quite a lot of the day. Margaon, Panjim, inside, outside. A lot of issues about CZMP, and Gram Sabha after Gram Sabha has been saying that no, we don't want. Could you give us what exactly it is in simple terms? Because there again there is a lot of, I don't know, this sort of PR work being done to say no, this same minister is involved, same chief minister. These are two main two people who are actually again pushing and defending and trying to push this project. Could you give us shed some light on this?
See, there is a feeling of mistrust because if you remember that the coastal zone management plans were prepared in 2019 and they were circulated in 2019. Government had these consultations in 10 talukas, which the minister himself, though there was a lot of opposition everywhere, but the government at least tried to have what is known as a consultation.
Sure.
Now, as a result of that, the government actually went, which is a good thing to do, they actually encouraged, Cabral himself encouraged village panchayats to drop their coastal zone management plans.
Yes.
Some coastal village panchayat did not prepare their plans. The government went to the extent of issuing an order under Section 5 of the Environment Protection Act against those panchayats, saying that if you don't produce this plan, we will direct the officers not to pay the salaries of the functionaries of the panchayat. I've got that order with me. It was issued by Haldar. Now, after getting all the plans, practically all the panchayats submitted their plans. They were sent to the NCSCM. Now the NCSCM has got one simple explanation for why they did not use the plans. They said that they came in a digital format which is not could not be incorporated in the format which we are using. So we didn't use any of it.
That's ridiculous.
This is totally ridiculous because whom are you designing your coastal zone management plan? You are designing it for yourself, or you are designing it for the people of Goa, for which you have been paid more than 2.5 crores.
Yes.
So you are designing for people of Goa, they are your clients. You got to listen to them. You got to go out of your way. We said if your software is not incorporating that, come and find out what the problem is. If necessary, help them to modify or whatever, to get it done, because the thing is that consultation means consulting with the public. Consulting with the fisher folk, with the toddy tappers, with people in the tourism trade, with people living all along the river banks. You consult with them and say, look, this is what I want to do. Is it correct? Is it sound? Is it factually in reality? And so on. So you do nothing of the sort, and you do another plan. In the plan, last minute what you do is, you mark all the port limits. Now nobody has ever asked them to do the port limit thing. These port limits have been notified in the Gazette several decades ago. Panjim port limits have been
minor port and all
minor port up to Kelosi and all that, you know, a long time back, much before CRZ also, they have notified these port limits, they have modified them. It's been going on from 1976 as far as I remember, or 66.
Okay.
These port limits have been, it's been going, they are there. Now, why you want to bring the port limits into CRZ maps, I cannot understand, because the CRZ notification doesn't say that you should bring port limits map into it. All the CRZ notification says that if there is land which is within the port limits, 100, this NDZ will not apply.
Okay.
No development zone will not apply, because the port cannot be bound by it, because the port may want to put a lighthouse, may want to put a jetty, may want to do something, because the port is interested in ships, movement of ships, the sight of ships. The captain should be able to see the barge, he should be able to see the curve. So they don't want any obstruction on the river bank. So anybody who wants to do something has to get their permission. But this is only up to 50 yards. Not even 50 meters, 50 yards.
Okay.
This is what this law strictly says. So it was not necessary at all, so they brought that inside, and they have created an enormous mess, and if they don't remove the port limits, then they are going to have a rebellion on their hands. Now, advantageous thing to us all is that people did not understand
Earlier.
the amount of integration that has taken place in Goa, that means integration of the Goan economy with the central economy.
Okay.
Now it is out in full bloom.
Okay. Yes.
So now you can see the integration through the new airport, you can see it through the doubling of the line, you can see it through the MPT expansion, you can see it through ports, you can see it through national highways, you can see it through. So now Goans are suddenly worried, because suddenly they find even the national waterways. 6 waterways have gone to inland waterways have gone to Delhi, and it's so stupid that even those waterways, our national waterways, are in the port limits.
Which actually cannot happen.
It cannot happen.
Actually, okay. Now this port limit. Okay, fine. Now it's making a little bit of sense. But though I don't know the logic behind this, because possibly there is a logic that okay, once you port limit, you can do whatever you want. Basically, maybe that's the idea of putting it in the port limit. Possibly, I don't know. It's out there. But I want to say one thing. Now, for example, all this has happened. We have done the CZMP. The minister was there. Everybody was there. They went to the Gram. I remember there were fights in the Gram Sabha, but the maps went. Now it went to X. Now he could not do it. He could not, because of software, which is a very minor issue today. That software thing. It's a very minor issue. Looking at the the high level or evolvement of technology in India. Forget about anywhere else. Now, why is it the minister could not go and tell them, "Arey boss, I am paying you, get it done." Why? There should be some reason. Otherwise, what was the logic? See, 1 plus 1 has to be equal to 2. 1 plus 1 cannot be equal to 100. So, that should be the next. Now, for example, if I go to a cobbler to make a shoe, and the guy tells me, "Arey boss, my thread is spoiled," I'll tell you, change the thread. Others, give it to somebody else. Why? According to you, why is the government, the chief minister and the environment stroke power minister not done this in this case?
Well, that is their failing, because see, the NGT has been after them. National Green Tribunal has said that if you do not produce the coastal zone management plans by so and so date, I think it is 31st of January, the salary of the secretary to the department cannot be paid.
Okay.
So whoever the secretary in the Department of Environment, his salary cannot be paid.
Okay.
Now, whether this whole exercise of pushing something through only to protect somebody's salary, which is entirely,
it doesn't make sense, does it?
It doesn't make sense. But I think that they are also fed up. They want to finish. Public is also fed up. Public also wants to finish. We don't want this coastal zone management plan to be on our heads for many years. We want it to be finalized, because the last one was prepared in 1996. Okay. That is, 25 years ago.
NGT, I know it has given them a lot of strictures, past strictures.
Their past strictures, but the NGT has also lost any interest now, because every time they come and ask for another 6-month extension and so on. And now, for example, they are saying change the law for allowing sand mining, because there is an NIO report which has come. And the NIO report is obviously not allowing them to do sand mining where they want to because of environmental damage. So now they're saying we want to change the central law for Goa so that we can do. So for everything, Goa has to go to Delhi, get a special law
done
for itself.
I think. I don't know. Is it going to
Well, they tried in the case of mining for 2 years, 3 years, they're still trying. So they think that they are something special in that sense. They can be. We are special. We are special people. But we should be special in the sense that we take steps to protect our environment, our natural environment. We protect our idea of Goa, how Goa has evolved, what brought people to Goa, what brings
Still bringing
millions of people to Goa even till today. That is the golden egg. Now, all these people with all these nonsensical plans and these nonsensical projects, what they are trying to do is they are trying to demolish that egg. That
Destroy it.
golden egg, destroy it. So there's nothing
Completely.
left of it. So that's why people are objecting. Now, coastal zone management plan is important because 80% of the people of Goa reside in coastal areas, and the CRZ covers 70% of Goa because of all these rivers, the
Yes,
salt
yes,
water going
yes.
right inside and so
Yes.
on. So obviously a lot of people want to be heard on this. Now you cannot say, I'm not going to hear you, I'm going to give you only 5 minutes. I'm going to, last minute I change the venue, I
Don't
do
allow
whatever I
anybody
want. So
online.
that will not do, because any court will say that you have not conducted your public hearing properly. You have to do it sincerely. You have to show that you want to listen to people, not go through the formality of a public hearing just to show that you have done it. So that is why it ended up in this type of a fiasco.
Mess.
Total mess. Disaster, mess, I don't know, whatever word you want to use. But only people who don't see reality will think that, oh, the public hearing has been conducted, now we are going to send the minutes. What do the minutes say? The minutes say that all the people who came, whoever came, said we are not going to talk till you bring everybody from the gate also into the hall.
Yes. Dutur, we have run out of time. It's been very, very interesting. But one thing I would like to end this on, ultimately Goa is special, as you say. All of us believe that, wherever, whoever, through the ages, for certain reasons. Goa is special. That's why people are still coming from all over to Goa. But I, for one, personal opinion of course, I for one believe that yes, the way this is going on, ultimately what will happen is it will destroy the golden egg and kill the goose that laid the golden egg.
Yes.
And this is, see, now you and me are talking, this has been told to me by people in industry, by people in tourism, by stakeholders, by tourists, by foreigners. They have come and told me, why are we coming to Goa to see buildings? In our place there are much more, it's much more, the US is developed, the Gulf, but for this, now this, if this continues, things are going to look very bleak, I think, and hopefully some sort of a sense will prevail and some sort of a balance will be. Thank you, Dr. Cloud. Thank you very much. And keep watching Goa 365.